looking at that, we are now beginning to see an economic opportunity, how we can use technology to improve on what the world has already condemned. And we are also looking at sawdust. Look at Makoko, where we started our production from, and other sawmills around. We've identified over 250 sawmills that would deliver in excess of 1 million tons of sawdust to our factory every year. So we found out that we already have this in Nigeria. So what can we do to begin to take advantage of this? So that was what our research and our investment has been able to bring to bear, so that we don't compete with food security. And that is the path that we've taken to also break down cellulose into the hemicellulose. We have in biomass material, we have the cellulose part, we have the hemicellulose. One produces glucose, the other one produces second side of sugar, and that one is taken again through the same process that cassava, corn, and the likes have been able to go through in order to get the same results. And in the world today, second generation biofuel have got some successes, is still in the process of development. And when we became the first partner under the UN Sustainable Energy for All for the high impact opportunity for bioenergy in Africa, what they found out is that we're the first in Africa to bring this to work in Africa. What we've seen in some other countries in Africa is still using corn, cassava to produce the same thing. So that is what we are housing in Nigeria, and we've been producing this from consistently. And that's exactly what we've been able to do to achieve the low price, because we are using the African technology to solve African problem. There is no brainer, there is no too much technology involved in this. It's already done. When you see our Rerifa lab, we have everybody, 100% Africans, Nigerians working in there. So the knowledge is available, the technology is available, and of course we are driving the finances, because you also need to line up the required investment in order to bring this to bear. So that's exactly what we've been able to do to convert biomass waste from sawdust, from water hyacinth, agricultural waste, rice straw, any waste that you could see around can be broken down into its class and be converted to the same bioethanol gel. Talking about the kerosene that is a major fuel for cooking in Nigeria, it's never available. It comes at a prohibitive cost. It is scarce. You have to go to the filling stations and see the queue. You don't even get it there. So why should it be on the street that you have to get this? So it has to go through the second-tier market, the black market, before it could get to their hands. So it has changed hands because the cabal and the people that decide what happened have to sell it outside. You'll be amazed that the kerosene that we buy on the street in Nigeria have to come from Niger, have to come from Ghana before they sell back to us. We are the one that sold first to them. It's been subsidized. However, they never get to see that. So this is no-brainer. We don't need to do much education, because we've been driving our campaign with education. It is called End Kerosene Generation, and moving our women closer to cleaner fuel, so that they could understand what the benefit is as compared to the old way of cooking, and that they have found out. And what we have struggled with, because at the international market, new technology, when they came in, it comes at a very high cost, looking at the capex that you have to put into it. But over time, what we have seen is it's been nosediving the cost at which it is delivered to the women. So we started a liter for about 300 naira per liter. That was about 3 years ago when we started. As we speak today, a liter is selling less than 100 naira. And this is the same liter that would displace in aggregate almost 1.5 liters of kerosene. So it cooks longer, it's safer, it's cleaner, and of course it's cheaper, because it's coming below the price that they are used to. Of course, charcoal and firewood today is even more expensive than kerosene. So kerosene sell between 200, 250, 150, depending on the distance between the place where the seller is buying it from the black market farm. So that's our own definition of delivering energy access to women at a good, cheaper cost.
Bottles of this renewable ethanol gel are then sold around the price of kerosene to communities across West Africa. To date, the company has distributed over 200,000 cook stoves and shipped over 700,000 liters of bioethanol cooking gel. In 2014, the Small Medium Enterprise Fundamentals Green Energy and Biofuels announced a partnership with the United Nations Sustainable Energy for All initiative and Partners for Euro-African Green Energy. Those who use these stoves can also benefit from the carbon credit funds of the United Nations.
Carbon earning is simple. When you buy a stove, that means you have our biofuel jet stove. You have displaced someone using kerosene stove, or you display someone using charcoal, or somebody using firewood to cook. You've told them to dump that and start using a renewable technology. Okay, that means you've actually taken care of that. The number of hours you cook with your fossil fuel, with your kerosene stove and whatever, now you are now using it to cook on biofuel gel. We measure that in the metric tons of carbon, and we are able to pi that out, and we take it to the carbon, we trade it for you. And because of your little carbon that you've been able to capture, it's not up to the tonnage that we can take to the market, the carbon credit market, to actually get. So what we do in the network is this. We get your carbon, you take your carbon, we had all our carbon together every month, and we take this to the market, we get the fund, then we now split it and pay it to our consumers. That's how it works.
So it's a win-win situation.
Oh my God, it's a win-win situation. Majorly, the end user, they benefit more from this, because they take care of their environment, they take care of their health and their wealth, and their, they have a lot to talk about.
We should know that the whole world is going green. We are talking of renewable energy. We are talking of sustainable energy. This is what we are getting from the Almighty God. So it's sustainable. It's the business of the future. We have just started. There is hope in it.
The future that we want is the future that our government must be more proactive. The solution does not lie with the government, I must say. It lies with us, the populace. It lies with the private sector. We have the most difficult of these to either do or to bear. The future that we want is a future of delivering energy access to the people. A future where an household can wake up every day without thinking on how am I going to get the fuel to cook. The future that we want is a future that a family can have economic power to also afford that. And that is what Carbon Credit Network have done. We empower people to get involved in entrepreneurship. They also collaborate and work with their own kinsmen, their own group, to empower them. In that process, they are rewarded for their effort. They make extra income. They can channel this income into paying their children's school fees, into taking care of their health, and of course, into living the good life that they want. Government is making efforts. I will not call government zero. The only thing that we have to do is to align this effort in the right direction. We still need more willpower. In this entire presidential campaign, I've not seen personally any of my leader that is out there to lead me in the next 4 years, giving me anything that I could be excited about. It's been boring because there is nothing about sustainability that I've heard. There is nothing that talks about climate change. Even when everybody is talking about economic reform, talking about building infrastructure, if we have tsunami, we don't have an environment to live in the wealth that is going to be created, then we are all gone. The entire world, the whole world today is looking into the future, drafting policy, getting engaged in international discourse on how to begin to use technology to begin to drive most of the processes. Look at the success that we've had in the telecommunication. Look at the dawn of the internet. Look at what this has created to jobless, unemployed people. No matter how minute this could be, government have the responsibility to be able to bring forward a policy, a platform that will be able to weigh all these outcomes, bring it together like an aggregator, and make this to work for people. And we can begin to track our successes against those things that have been set.
We'll be back with you next week. Do make it a date with us. In the meantime, you can view this episode and any other episode of this program at channelstv.com/earthfile or youtube.com/channelsweb. And should you have any comment or questions, do write to earthfile@channelstv.com. Now, from all of us here, it's bye for now.